Hey guys, welcome to my backyard. So this is my bee hotel. Well, I guess I should say these are my bee hotels. So people call these different things. You hear bee nest boxes, bee blocks. I like bee hotels because it sounds kind of friendly. One of the questions I often get is how do you maintain your bee hotel? So I have a video, you can see the link right up here, about how to make a bee hotel. There's different ways. So this is a block of wood that I drilled holes in. These are a bunch of Phragmites reeds that I tied together. This is a store-bought bee hotel that's kind of falling apart. And then this is an observation bee hotel that I got from the Bees Waggle. I'll put a link down below. So bee hotels are good because they're providing nesting habitat for some of the cavity nesting bees that live in our neighborhoods. When we build a neighborhood, we often take away the native vegetation, and therefore we are taking away some of the natural nesting habitat for a lot of these bees. A lot of the common bees that nest in bee hotels are mason bees, which are some of my favorite, but I don't have mason bees nesting in my yard. What I have is leafcutter bees. Leafcutter bees come out a little bit later in the summer, like right now. They cut pieces of leaves and they line the inside of that little tunnel, kind of like wallpaper. They make a little room out of leaf pieces. So mason bees and leafcutter bees are often found in your bee hotel. So like I said, there's lots of instructions online about how to maintain your bee hotel. I personally am not a very hands-on hotel owner. I don't come through and clean out the little rooms. Some people put paper straws in the holes that they drill so they can take those paper straws out, bring them inside in the wintertime or in the shed. I just leave this out all the time. Summer, fall, winter, it's always out. The bad part of bee hotels, so we've mentioned the good part is we're providing habitat. The bad part though is you are concentrating a nesting site artificially high concentrations. If you imagine in nature, they are finding holes in old stumps or old dead logs, abandoned beetle burrows, and they are nesting there. Here, I now have hundreds of holes available for bees and wasps to nest in a really close proximity. So what happens, if you think about social distancing that we are all familiar with over the last year, what happens is when you cluster organisms together, diseases spread more easily. And that happens in bee hotels. There are funguses that will infect some of these nest cells. And when you increase the concentration of nesting, you can increase the transmission of these fungal pathogens or other pathogens. Another negative side of bee hotels is when you artificially increase nesting habitat, you make it a good target for parasites and other predators. I don't have birds that dig into my bee hotel, but some people have that happen and they have to put wire mesh over it. What I have is parasitic wasps that have really gotten a big foothold in my hotel population. So you can see a lot of activity here. We have leafcutter bees actively provisioning their nests, but we also have these little wasps. These wasps are called sapigid wasps. Sapigid wasps are parasites of leafcutter bees. They go inside the nest and they lay their egg. Their baby then eats the baby bee and the provisions left for the baby bee. So I have increased my parasite load and that's bad. There's a couple ways that you can deal with this. One is you can move your nest area in your yard from year to year. I've had this here for 7 years, so that's a long time in one spot. And that's why the predators are here or the parasites are here. But if you move it different locations, you can kind of lower the parasite load from these parasitic wasps. Also, you can just build new bee hotels every couple of years. You can take this one out and throw it out and make a new one. And then when you're throwing this out, you're throwing out all those parasitized nest cells. What I like as a biologist, I think that the parasite and all the other wasps living here is pretty neat. So I'm going to leave it here. There's this graph that you see when you take general biology of a snowshoe hare and a lynx. When the snowshoe hare population goes up, the next generation of lynx population goes up because there's lots of food for it. When the lynx population gets too high, they eat all the snowshoe hares and the population crashes of the hares, and then following that, it crashes of the predator. So there's this ebb and flow of predator-prey populations. I'm wondering if that's going to happen with my bee hotel. Right now, this year, I have a lot of parasitic wasps. But if they parasitize all the nests, there will be nothing left for them. And next year, maybe they'll have a lower population density. So I'm going to leave it here and let it go. But in your bee hotel, you might want to be more of a hands-on hotel owner and clean out your bee nests or move them or something like that. So we have mason bees and leafcutter bees that you often see in the bee hotel. Today, I also want to talk about some of the wasps that you see in a bee hotel. What I also have is this cool wasp called a grass-carrying wasp. It's called a grass-carrying wasp because they they line the inside of their nest and they plug up their nest with pieces of dead grass, or in this case, they found some pieces of twine that looks like dead grass. So the grass-carrying wasp is a predator of tree crickets. Tree crickets look kind of like little mini katydids. They will find these tree crickets, sting them to paralyze them. They will shove them into that nest and lay an egg on it, and then like I said, plug the nest entrance with dead grass. So then their larva eats that paralyzed tree cricket and then repeats the process the next year. So grass-carrying wasps, super cool. What else do we have? Well, we also have this cool wasp called Tripoxylon. That's the genus. Tripoxylon are spider hunting wasps. So these like the bee hotels, but unlike some of these wasps or bees that just put one tree cricket or one big lump of pollen in there, the Tripoxylon is a mass provisioner. So it actually hunts multiple spiders, shoves all these spiders in the nest entrance. If you look carefully in here, all those little kind of spherical shaped things in that nest, those are the abdomens of paralyzed spiders. So it will paralyze the spiders, and that's what its larva feeds off of, is these paralyzed spiders. Tripoxylon wasps are pretty cool, and you see them in your bee hotel. In this bee hotel, we also have some potter wasps nesting. Potter wasps get their name because they use mud to make their nests. Some do freestanding nests that look kind of like a pot, really cool looking. These ones are just using the mud to line the inside of the nest and to change the diameter so it fits their needs. These potter wasps hunt caterpillars, so they're really good for your garden. They're killing some of these pest insects. So that's about all that I'm seeing in my bee hotel. But some of my friends have seen other kinds of bees in their hotels, in addition to the ones that I've already mentioned. For example, white-faced bees or masked bees. These are in the genus Hyleus. Sometimes these will be in bee hotels. They find pre-existing cavities. They often like pithy stemmed things like raspberries or things like that. So bee hotels are good for your yard for two reasons. One, a lot of these bees will help pollinate your garden. My raspberries actually got a lot of pollination services from these leafcutter bees earlier in the year. Also, the wasps that are nesting in these bee hotels can be good because they're like natural pest control. They are hunting and killing some of the pest insects we see. But anyway, bee hotels are not just hotels for bees. As I've shown, there's lots of other cool wasps that also live here. Take a look at your bee hotel and see what you have. If you're looking to build your own, check out that other video that I made. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel and you can see more videos like this.